Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, we are going to do a presentation regarding language in use. So here is the list of our members. Next slide, next slide. So here's the list of our members, and here's the list of our job desk. So the style material is summarized by ATHAAYA. The slang material is summarized by Rizky. Jargon and argot is summarized by ANWAR. Racial and national epithets is summarized by Yolinda. Language and sexism is summarized by Jose. Secret language and language games is summarized by SALMA. And the slide is made by NURHALISA, and I am the presenter of today's presentation. So the first material is style. Style is the way people use language in a certain way where a person's speech behavior will change according to speech situations such as place, person, and time. Therefore, everyone can use more than one style to position themselves. Nearly everybody has at least an informal and formal style. First one, in informal style, the rules of contraction are used more often, and the syntactic rules of negation and agreement may be altered, and many words are used that do not occur in the formal style. Nevertheless, informal styles still have rule governed. For example, questions are often shortened with the subject you and the auxiliary verb deleted. One can ask running the marathon or you running the marathon instead of the formal are you running the marathon. But you cannot shorten the question to are running the marathon. So even though it's informal and can be shortened, it can't be shortened as long as it's in the phrase are running the marathon. It removes the subject or content word so that the phrase has no meaning. In the formal style, the vocabulary, structures of sentences and phrases have fixed structures. This type of conversation generally takes place between strangers or in situations like boss and subordinates and etc. To distinguish the use of informal and formal styles, many languages make variants for the word in their dictionaries, which although the meaning remains the same, the level of formality is different. For example, in Japanese, the word eat, there are several levels depending on the formal or informal, such as dahar, nada, mangan, etc. And in German, du and in French, tu are to be used only with intimates. Si and vous are more formal and used with non-intimates. Second material is slang. One mark of an informal style is frequent occurrence of slang. Slang is something that nearly everyone uses and recognizes, but nobody can define precisely. It is more metaphorical, playful, elliptical, vivid, and shorter-lived than ordinary language. Slang is universal. It is found in all languages and all time periods. It varies from region to region and from past to present. Slang meets a variety of social needs, and rather than a corruption of the language, it is yet further evidence of the creativity of the human language user. Here are the examples of slang: spaced out, right on, hang up, rip off, bar, flub, and ecstasy. It is not always easy to know where to draw the line between slang words and regular words. The borderline between slang and formal language is ill-defined and is more of a continuum than a strict boundary. Next material is jargon and argot. Every conceivable science, profession, trade, and occupation uses specific slangs called jargon, and some of these are used in books like morpheme, lexicon, and case. The reason for this specialized terminology is for clarity of communication, but also for speakers to identify themselves with person whom they share interest. Because jargon used by different professional and social groups is so extensive and so obscure in meaning, court reporters in the Los Angeles Criminal Courts building have a library that includes books on medical terms, guns, trade names, and computer jargon, as well as street slang. For instance, the acronym and alphabetic abbreviation about in computers such as ROM, which is a short for read-only memory, RAM, which is a short for random access memory, and DVD, which is short for digital video disc. Some jargon may over time pass into the standard language. Jargon is like slang, spread from narrow group until originally embraced and understood by a large segment of the population. So the next material will be presented by my friend ANWAR WILLY. The time is yours.
Thank you, REIN. So please, the slide. Taboo or not taboo, the fealty or beauty of language must be in the listener's ears, which are the ears of society. Nothing about a particular string of sounds makes it intrinsically clean or dirty, ugly or beautiful, but it depends on the listener itself. All society have their own forbidden language, refer to its words, that called taboo. Taboo is a Tongan word means forbidden. The example word related to sex and sex organ are forbidden in some culture, but some of these words are not included as taboo, like vagina and testicle. There is no grammatical reason why this word is acceptable. Although there is no reason on grammatical, but sociolinguistic reason to embrace or eschew such usage for speaking formally, respectfully, disrespectfully, informally, jargon reader, and so on. So let me explain for more detail. So it means taboo is word that is forbidden in particular society, and if someone speaks or using this word, society will label him as dirty, awful, and cruel, and he will get discriminated from society. Next. Next, please. Euphemism. Next. Euphemism is word or phrase that replace taboo words. An example in the word die, dead. In some cultures, replaced with pass on or pass away for someone who lost his life. Euphemism is not new. It is used since Greek historians for cover the ugliness to giving them polite and endearing names. And this euphemism is used in all society to replace their taboo words. This euphemism, as well as difference between the accepted Latin, genital terms and dirty Anglo-Saxon terms, show that word or phrase has not only linguistic denotative meaning, but also connotative meaning that represent reflection of attitude, emotion, value judgments, and so on. So please let me explain it more. So from this, I can explain that euphemism is word or phrase that replace the taboo things more of to explain it, or referring to taboo that replace it. So it can be more acceptable. Thank you.
The next material is racial and national epithets. The use of epithets for people of different nationalities, religions, or races. Epithet has typically been understood as a term used to characterize a person or thing. The epithets used by a majority to demean a minority as terms of friendship among members of the minority or to convey contempt and hatred toward their targets. So, for example, the racial epithet apple to characterize Native Americans as red on the outside and white in inside, or as members of a racial class who, in spite of their skin color, have taken on the values and behavior of the white community. Second example is the ordinarily degrading word quip or quipple among some individuals who share a disability. Language, however, is creative, malleable, and ever-changing. The epithets used by a majority to mean a minority may be reclaimed as the terms of bonding and friendship among members of the minority. So the next material will be explained by my friend Jose. The time is yours.
Language and sex. Sometimes they correlate with each other. Language reflects sexism that also reflects any societal attitude, whether it is positive or negative. The examples of those can be seen like the older days of English, like castrating females, courageous feminist advocate, women's libers depending on who is talking. Early dictionaries also gave clues about social attitudes in words like manly courage, masculine charm, as opposed to womanish tears and feminine wiles. Unlike the newer dictionary that tries to avoid sexist language, used as my cousin is a professor or doctor, steelworker, or a counselor, implying that the cousin itself is a man. But due to change in society, when someone says that my cousin is a nurse, or elementary school teacher, club typist, or houseworker, then it is immediately implied that the cousin that is being talked about is a woman because of the more commonly held jobs based on each gender. Apart from that, there are also marked and unmarked forms. These words are bound by morphemes to refer a gender based on their profession of acting or their job, such as male using the unmarked form of hare, major, hero, and aviator. But for female, they use the heiress, majorette, heroine, aviatrix. Whether it is a marked form bound by morphemes to emphasize the female gender. Apart from that, there are also third-person unmarked forms, such as the use of he, him, or his for males, and she or her for females. But there are also natural pronouns by using they, but it is objectionable most of the time, so it's not much of a use in the common practice. Although there are also some attempts to produce genderless pronouns, such as he, hash, bo, they, and go, even though the dictionary are still inclined to adopt these words due to certain circumstances. Also, in the current news, due to the feminist movement, many of the marked female forms have been replaced by the male forms, such as authors, actors, poets, and heroes. The next point is about secret language and language games. There are many instances of secret language and language games throughout the world. These languages are mostly used by a group to identify its members or to prevent outsiders from knowing what the members are talking about. Examples of secret language throughout the history as such: Nushu, the woman's secret writing of Chinese, which originated in the 3rd century to hide them from the sexually repressive societies of Imperial China. Underground Railroad secret codes created by American slaves to maintain the secrecy of an underground railroad that helps the slaves escape their owners. There are also language games that are being used for amusement by children and adults throughout the world. There are many variants of it depending on what language. Some of the examples are as such: Pig Latin added a fabricated suffix to a word or moves an initial consonant to the end of a word. Example: pig would be ikpa. Latin would be atinlai. Lingua do I, a game in Brazil that substitutes an I for all of the vowels. Example: Hola tudo bem, that means hello, how are you, would be ili TDB. There are also a game by the Walbiri, the native of Central Austria, that replaces all nouns, verbs, pronouns, and adjectives by semantically contrastive words. Examples such: those men are small, meaning that this woman is big. Those language games provide evidence for the existence of phonemes, words, morphemes, and other descriptive grammars. They also shows the creativity of human language and its speakers.
So it appears that we've reached to the end of our presentation. So thank you for all your attention. Hope you all have a good day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.